Yeah, 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 yeah. Bronx on the scene, nose to the ground, reads every scratch, every step, every sound. Dust on the boot, mud on the cuff, one wrong move and he calls you bluff. He found a lie in the turn of a face, found a fresh print in an empty place. Tail up high when the story won't blend, he don't bark loud, he just gets close. Damn, sniffing out facts, no room for slack. Truth in the crack, now we don't look back. Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales. Chasing truth through the rails. Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales. Corruption slips, then fails. Sniffing out facts, uncaging the truth. Corruption on a tight leash, and he's pulling it loose. Hey, hey. Idaho nights cold, over the floor. 4 names heavy in the whole town, so Bronx in the weeds where the silence stayed, digging for proof in the tracks it made. He found the gap in the masked up tail, found the bent clue in the buried trail. Bone white truth in the folder stack, one clean scent and the case swings back. Sniffing out facts, no room for slack. Truth in the crack, now we don't look back. Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales. Chasing truth through the rails. Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales. Corruption slips, then fails. Sniffing out facts, uncaging the truth. Corruption on a tight leash, and he's pulling it loose. One paw print, one torn thread, one false alibi, falls dead. Chasing truth through the rails. Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales, Bronx Tales. Corruption slips, then fails. Sniffing out facts, uncaging the truth. Corruption on a tight leash, and he's pulling it loose.
Happy hump day. Happy hump day. How are you guys today? Welcome in. No talkie before coffee. How are you? I saw you just got a membership from JJ PP. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Starting the show off on a positive note, baby. Hello, Pixie Dust and Nutmeg Mystic. Hello, True Crime X. Good to see you. Annie and Witchy and Danielle. We've got Bob and Nunya. Bob Nunya. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about today. Seriously. You know how I like to start the show with like a couple of little nuggets or something I've heard or whatever. I had to like cut some of them off. I had too many of them. Oh, hey Zippity, good to see you. So yeah. We have a lot to talk about. First, though, everything is alleged in our opinion only. However, I want to talk about, of course, the PCR stuff today because this is actually insane. How many of you, thank you so much, Good Vibes. You always send jewels. I appreciate it. Hello, good to see you. Heavily endorphined is absolutely correct. This is truly like, how many of you seriously thought that Hitler was probably not going to give the PCR even half a second of a look to even give a crap about it? I mean, I truly figured he was going to just deny. I mean, that's what he did prior to having a trial, you know, every single hearing. Deny. And then he would add a comment with his denials that literally made no logical sense. Frustrating, overly frustrating. And now that there's been some time in between a plea deal and all of those hearings previously and today or this week, it makes you wonder, Did he hear something about himself? Did he read something about himself? Did he overhear water cooler talk? Like, yeah, it seemed a little unfair. Judge Hippler kind of dismissed everything that the defense was going to say. It was like he just didn't listen to it. Did he read something like that and open his eyes a little bit and think, well, screw it. I'll give him an evidentiary hearing. What's it going to hurt? I don't know. We don't know. But this is wild. So Brian filed his post-conviction relief petition. We all know that. And the state had 30 days to reply whether they were going to go forward with it or if they said, no, dismiss this. This is ridiculous. So they could have had longer than 30 days had they needed time to give their reply, but they did reply within the 30 days allotted. And of course, they're like, nope, dismiss it. Don't care. Want nothing to do with it. Bye-bye. But Hippler came through after the state filed their dismissal and said, well, I want to hear what Bryan Kohberger has to say. I believe that Hippler took one, or if not more than one, of Bryan Kohberger's, what he's claiming, accusations. And I think Hippler probably found something reasonable within one of those or more than one of those. And that's why he scheduled an evidentiary hearing. He wants to hear more about something, which is excellent news, especially if Bryan Kohberger and his team can actually bring the evidence for the evidentiary hearing and prove a bajillion % that is true. That is what happened. I have facts. I have witnesses. I have evidence, and prove his case. At this point, now Bryan Kohberger has to prove the things that he wrote in the PCR. I was promised things that didn't happen. I was threatened into taking a plea. I was whatever it is, right? He has to prove those facts now. So if Hippler denies after the evidentiary hearing, if Hippler denies Bryan Kohberger's petition for PCR, then it's just completely out the window. And then Bryan Kohberger can take different steps to appeal and things like that. But if Hippler says, yeah, I find that this is credible, I find that we're going to go through with this post-conviction relief, then later comes, the trial, right? That we never got to have much later down the road. That would come. What's interesting about this is we have the WSU lawsuit going on still. And the WSU lawsuit, I think the next date that they have a hearing or a status or something is September 13th. And the evidentiary hearing for Bryan Kohberger is now going to be September 15th. The problem is here, had those dates been switched, I would have really liked to see what would have happened with WSU's lawsuit, because if Hippler grants the PCR, that literally means that Bryan Kohberger doesn't have a conviction. The plea is gone. So we are back to innocent until proven guilty, which is the whole basis of the WSU lawsuit. The whole basis of the WSU lawsuit is Bryan Kohberger committed this crime. Well, we wouldn't have that anymore if the PCR is granted. So what's going to happen with the WSU lawsuit? Is it just going to be on hold? Are they just going to wait until all the trial? I mean, that's going to be so long. Wait for so many years. it just is crazy. Like that changes. It could very much change the whole basis for the WSU lawsuit in itself as well, along with the whole case in general. We have to go all the way back to the beginning. So on the 3rd of September is a status hearing for Bryan Kohberger for this PCR. And in the status hearing, Judge Hippler could possibly let them know which accusation of Bryan Kohberger's he found some sort of basis in, to then set a date for an evidentiary hearing. So we might learn, and if it's going to be if they're gonna allow cameras and allow it to be streamed. I actually took the day off on the 3rd and the 17th, so we will play those if they are live. But on the 3rd, Judge Hippler very well could tell us what he found credible in Bryan Kohberger's accusations, and which he decided to have an evidentiary hearing about. It could be ineffective assistance of counsel. It could be the hair. It could be, that he was coerced into a plea. So we could learn on the 3rd what exactly made Hippler say, yeah, I want to hear your arguments. I want to hear your arguments. The thing is with the PCR, there is no jury. And that's where I think we might have issues. We might have issues because there is no jury. And we know in the beginning, throughout all the hearings previous, really what Hippler thinks, right? I think we all can say he believes Bryan Kohberger is guilty. But, and Hippler was so very deliberately biased. It was pretty disgusting. Absolutely, Rosie. Hippler was so biased against Bryan and the defense. Absolutely. So that's what scares me a little bit about this evidentiary hearing, is that there is no jury and it's just Hippler saying, yeah, I believe you and you've proved your point, or no, I don't believe you. You haven't proved your point. So it's still a little scary, but I'm still shocked that he was just outright given an evidentiary hearing. So really good news. Really, really, really good news. If the evidentiary hearing goes through and Hippler says, yeah, you've proved your point, that doesn't mean that Bryan Kohberger goes home or anything like that. That would not ever happen until well after a trial is held, not for the PCR, not an appeal trial, but a trial for the original case, until he's found not guilty for that. That is the only time that he would be able to go home. So long time. It's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Yeah. Bryan doesn't stand a chance if this stops. Yep. In Idaho. Yep. Do you think with all the Ray and Turby situation, that's why he's letting it run? I'm not exactly sure. Unless he well, so we know that there was somebody asked for a transcript from the court. And if Hippler saw what that transcript was and what it was about and what it said, and it goes in Bryan Kohberger's favor. So let's say in the transcript it said, you could hear somebody say, you have to take this plea deal. It's not going to say that, but let's say it does, right? Well, Hippler would have seen that in the transcript that was asked for just before this evidentiary hearing stuff and the state responding. He would know what it was saying and what it was about. And if it was evidence that went in favor for Bryan Kohberger, and that could be the reason why he flat out said, yeah, we can do an evidentiary hearing. I mean, at this point, we don't really know why, but we'll find out more on the 3rd why he decided to give an evidentiary hearing. I think it's cool. I'm shocked. I'm so shocked, especially after all we went through before with Ann Taylor, and my goodness. Now, especially that we have seen and we know that there are over 60 terabytes, 60 more terabytes of data, interviews, information, tests, whatever's in there that nobody's ever seen. That could be a completely different reason now that Bryan Kohberger could have reason to be granted a trial. There's a lot. I feel like there is a lot on Bryan Kohberger's side to get a new trial for the original case. I really do. There's a lot now. There's been a lot of information that has come out, and I don't think it's going to stop. By the time we get to a trial, I think we're going to have huge booms and bangs that, yeah. I mean, eventually we're going to get into that Synology folder or files that Tim Smuldridge has and is the only keeper of it. We're going to have to get into that. That's part of public information. You cannot hide that. That's literally illegal. So some stuff is going to come out that I don't think they want to come out. So this is all just so incredibly interesting. I'm shocked. I think it's great. I was not expecting it. I'm sure a lot of you guys were not expecting it. Oh, I think I got a response to a FOIA real quick. I'm checking. Whoops. Let me see. Oh, yep. Order letter. Oh, interesting. Look at this FOIA return, guys. This just came just now. This was the cheapest FOIA. It was like $20. But you guys, holy cow. Okay. I'm going to share this. I just got this FOIA return. This FOIA return is, there was a letter sent to Sigma Chi, and it was a very odd letter. And there's a report for it, an ISP report. I want to say it's like ISP report 78 or something like that. And all it says is there was an odd letter received, not the envelope to the sorority house, a different letter. And it says we took pictures of it and gave it to MPD. That's it. They didn't do anything with it. So I wanted to see what the letter said. So we asked for it, and here it is. We just got it. So I'm going to move the chat real quick. So it says it was sent to an M or NJ. Oh, no, that's the return from an NJ in Winchester, Idaho. So it went through the mail through Spokane, Washington, and it was sent to Sigma Chi House. It has an Energizer bunny, which I could only assume means I won't stop, keep going. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. The Boston Tea Party. This one is Webb Space Telescope. This one is French Toast Torrefaction Française. And then another one. French Toast. And it's a messed up picture of Ethan. This is effing weird. Super creepy. This is weird. It's written on learn more about the Lakota or the Sioux Indian culture. Mowich was Indian. Mowich, I think, is Sioux Indian. This is crazy. I'm pretty sure Mowich is Sioux Indian. I mean, is this like blood coming out of the back of his head? Is this supposed to be like blood on his shoulder and on his chest, or what is that supposed to be? Is his face supposed to be bruised or dirty? Was there something wrong with Ethan's eye? Like, did they injure Ethan's eye or something? That's literally what it is. This is weird, you guys. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dago. Go subscribe to Dago if you ain't. This is weird. Who would do that? Especially like in their own handwriting. This is super duper strange. I will post this on the community page. I just think that's pretty crazy that Mowich is Indian. If I'm not mistaken, he is Sioux Indian. And this was written or drawn on Sioux Indian notebook paper. Odd coincidence. I feel like these are messages of some sort. Like, why would you put all those on there? Who would be MJ in Winchester, Idaho? This is strange. Weird, weird, weird. Well, I can do one more thing with this, so I will be doing that, and I'll let you know when we get it. Yeah, or JM. Oh, Arrows. Hey, Huda, good to see you. Arrows. Weird. Now, I know that I'm sure Ethan has pictures by the Idaho water tower or a huge rock that has an eye on it by a little forest preserve or something. But could it mean something else? Could it mean like, hey, this is where the weapons are buried? Could it mean that? Because it looks like they've put things on Ethan's torso exactly where he was stabbed. I mean, is this supposed to be a chin or a gaping hole in the neck? This is bothersome. I mean, obviously it was done on purpose. Nobody draws a person like this. Super creepy. I FOIA'd this. There was a report, a document in the ISP documents that stated somebody received a weird or odd letter. ISP took a picture of it and sent it to MPD to put it in the case file. That's all it said. It said who received the letter was redacted. So I don't know who, but this is just addressed to Sigma Chi. Now, here's what's really interesting about this. The same thing happened with one of the sororities. I've talked about this a million times. One of the sororities received an envelope with a handwritten letter. Now I'm wondering, is it from the same person? But how come we got denied for that one for privacy, but not this one? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because the other one sent to the sorority had clues in it that they know we would figure out. And that's why they don't want us to see it. It does kind of look like there's letters on the forehead, but also it looks like scribbles because it looks like, here on the edge of the shoulder, there's scribbles. But it could be scribbles to make it look like something on purpose. Like, I'm going to make this look like scribbles, but really it's a letter. Yep. Yep, exactly. That's why they won't give me the letter and all the things within that envelope from the sorority house. They know we'll put those clues together. And it'll be so clear. It'll be so obvious what those clues are. And we will all say, oh, okay, this is so clear and obvious. Why did the police not pursue this? They knew exactly what this meant too, and they chose to ignore it. That's why they won't give us the sorority letter. Hello, Miss Bianca. Good to see you. This is crazy. I'll post this as soon as I'm done with the live. I'll post it if you guys want to like zoom into it or whatever. I'm curious what these mean though, these stamps. French toast. French toast. What could that mean? Or French. Did they put something about France or French because Greek row is obviously Greek. Sigma Chi is Greek. Are they just trying to be like annoying about it? Or I don't understand. French toast. Oh, it says French roast. Not toast, French roast. Coffee. Coffee. Hmm. What could the Boston Tea Party mean? Hmm. Oh, interesting. Yep. The knife is hidden in a French roast coffee can. Hey, at this point, I really wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it. I really am wondering if this little scene in the background is a clue for something. Knife is buried here, clothes are here, something. That's super interesting. This is really creepy. I wonder if this is a real return address or if it's fake or what. Oh, yeah, I guess it could be a W as well. Very, very interesting. Well, that means we should be getting some of our other FOIAs really soon as well. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I thought that too. Very interesting. Bethany's painting, didn't she make two now? Had trees and a lake. Oh, I didn't even see it. The coffee shop, interesting. Could be the pickup or drop off for rugs. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a very like unique way of drawing. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Knife in the water tower. I know, right? I want to go magnet fishing out there. Ah, it's from Starbucks. Thank you. Torrification Francais is a French roast from Starbucks. Interesting. I'm trying to like put all those stamps together to like make it mean one big thing, but it might not mean one big thing. It could be a bunch of little things that, like, I don't know. The picture of the boat for the Boston Tea Party. Oh, wait, Boston Tea Party. Tea and coffee, huh? Weird. I'll have to think on it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Nothing half-assed says, oh, the Energizer Bunny. Speed, a rug reference. Like it keeps going and going. Yep. That makes sense. Even if it's not speed itself, even if it's the Adderall, right? It still does the same thing. That's interesting. That is interesting. Yikes. Thank you for the jewels. I appreciate that. Okay, let's keep going. I'm not going to read you guys the post-conviction relief paperwork from today. We talked about it, so it's okay. Other people have it posted. All right, I'm going to share this with you. It's just a quick clip from one of Jules' lives. I believe it was last night. Yeah, last night, her live. Just a really quick clip. So she's talking about the DoorDash information, how Accomplished Day FOIA'd the DoorDash information, which I have to be honest, I FOIA'd it a long time ago as well. And then Jules FOIA'd it from the FBI. Accomplished Day FOIA'd it from the FBI. Both were denied, which is crazy. But she says something that I completely agree with.
The original files from Verizon were not provided as discovery in this case. This may be due in part to the cellular data being captured by a third-party software such as PinLink. There are 3 CSV files that were provided that capture.
Thank you, Dago. So proud to be a part of this community. Thank you. So sweet. Thank you for letting me be a part of this community. I appreciate you.
Network activity on this device. The naming schema observed on these files appear to be typical naming schema used by the FBI, indicating these files were most likely created and preserved by the FBI. The location data associated with these files was not analyzed beyond identifying the type of data that was requested from Verizon and provided. More specifically, I was able to confirm that timing-related data was requested and the search warrant was subsequently provided by Verizon as a result of the court order. The CSV files have been preserved in Ray Discovery Folder, Raw Records, Verizon, Big Michael's. Again, the only thing he did was check for the type of data that was requested and the type of file that it was. He never went in and actually analyzed the location data. Just like he didn't for Ethan or Jack Decor or Bethany Funk either. Such a thorough investigation. Such a thorough investigation. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So I don't know, guys. I mean, what other reason? There's nothing else for me to show you. We're just going to talk for a few minutes before we're done. We're done. Like, this is it. I told y'all it wasn't going to be long. Can anyone give me an innocent reason why they would be withholding any information about this being released to the public more than what's already been released? I'm not understanding. And never mind. Oh, hey, accomplished. Never mind everything else that's already so questionable in this case. Never mind the fact that we have them looking up Molly's information. That's another thing I'll show you guys. They have a report in the Moscow police reports of them looking up Molly's information just days before the plea. And remember what else was happening just days before the plea? All of golly Miss Molly's little freaking DUI, not DUI, but all the stuff where she was getting pulled over. I don't really know what all the charges were, but all the stuff about her getting pulled over came out, getting pulled over by Brett Payne, her telling Brett Payne straight in the camera she's friends with Bill Thompson.
So basically, Jules went over a lot of the DoorDash stuff. She was talking about how she FOIA'd it, Accomplished Day FOIA'd it. Everybody's been denied. FBI denied it. Apparently, FBI is the one who holds all that information. However, it seems as if people like Whitcomb and Turvey have actually seen the picture taken when your food is dropped off at the door and then the DoorDash driver leaves. Apparently, there is a picture. Jules called MPD, spoke with Amber, and asked several different ways Basically, how much information is there on the DoorDash order? Is there a picture? Da 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 da. Amber was basically like, when I gave you the spreadsheet for the information, that's all we have. Anything else, the FBI has it. I can't give it to you. So apparently there is still some more information, but the FBI has it and they will absolutely never release it. And Jules asked a good question. What is a reason that they won't release any of the DoorDash information? Well, let me run this by you, since we've been talking about Molly McMichael's phone and the contact added in Dylan's phone through a handshake of allegedly Molly McMichael's throwaway phone. So I just want to share with you a post by True Crime X. It says, here's what the actual discovery shows about the DoorDash timeline. The state never obtained Xana's DoorDash records, so there is no proof she placed the order. The only DoorDash account that was subpoenaed belonged to Ethan, and the 4 a.m. order does not appear in his records. That means the order was placed by someone else, but the discovery does not identify who. At 3:51:03 a.m., Dylan's phone shows a created identity event, a system level entry that happens when the OS processes new external identity metadata. This event lines up with the exact moment the DoorDash driver is seen on camera outside 1112. Dylan's phone had no other delivery type apps installed, making DoorDash the only realistic source of that identity event. Taken together, the data points toward Dylan's phone being the device that received the DoorDash delivery metadata, which likely includes the receipt. This isn't an accusation, it's simply what the combined digital evidence supports. And I truly could not have said that any better. Dylan's phone woke up, or she was using it, when Molly McMichael's phone got close enough to Dylan's phone to give off a handshake to say, hey, I'm a new device. I'm discoverable. Do you want to connect to me? Do you want to whatever? Which could very well mean that that happened because Dylan was on the DoorDash app and receiving messages or placed the order. I don't think that's super far-fetched. I mean, at this point, for me, it's known. It's a fact that 3:51:03 contact is Molly McMichael's throwaway phone. It's the exact time she was next to that house. That was the exact time that there was a device near Dylan's phone. So yeah, I do think it's highly possible that Dylan is the one who placed the DoorDash order. Makes sense to me. And I think that's really big. I think that's really, really big. Okay. I have another thing for you that I just want to show you. I started last night at the very beginning of Body Cam to see if with new information there's anything else we can find. And I got like 4 minutes in and that's it. But I want to show you, and you might have already seen this. I just want to give a reminder.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get the right spot.
Yes. We're at
Boom.
here.
Right there. Look at all the light switches. Every last one of them are turned on. You cannot tell me that Bethany saw a flash under her door with every dang light on the first floor on. No way. There is no way. Put that together with Dylan saying, yeah, I think the flash came down there. To me, that says she knows the flash was on the second floor. She was on the second floor. That's why she said, I think the flash came down there. She wouldn't have worded it like that if she was on the first floor and saw a flash under her door, a door that she can't even see from her bed. When all of the lights are on in the first floor, it would not happen. That is, you are not going to see a flash. And plus, when he came in, you can see all of the lights are on. You can see each of the lights on. When he walks in and is facing directly forward, there's a light over here and a light on the other side where, I mean, we can pretty much see it right now above the door. That light is on. The other light is on. Just with this light on that we see in front of this door where this hat is hanging, just that light on alone, Bethany would not be able to see a flash. No way, no how. So I just wanted to give, if you've already seen that, I just want to give a reminder. If you haven't seen it, to me, that's definitive proof that Bethany probably wasn't on the first floor and didn't see a flash on the first floor. Makes more sense that she was on the second floor. Those chips are hers. That chip bag has blood on it. Yeah, makes more sense that she knows more. On the third stair. No, it looks like a piece of a leaf is on the third stair. On the third one, two. Yeah, no, I think that's like a piece of a leaf or something. Okay. Now I have something else to show you really quick. Psycho Stench actually sent this to me. If you are in here, I'm going to play this little gem for ya because this is very interesting. Now this actually gives you the reason, the exact 100% reason why they had to put Brian Koberger behind the driver's seat of that light colored car driving away from the neighborhood at 4:20 or 4:21 in the morning. This is why.
Fallacy. I think it's the prosecutor's fallacy. And basically,
Oh, boo. Why is it doing that?
it looks like this. I think it's the prosecutor's fallacy. And basically, it looks like this. A person, their DNA matches the DNA on a weapon that has been used in a murder. And the prosecutor says the chances of this DNA matching are 1,000,000 to 1. and the person is convicted. The problem is, if there's no other evidence that the person committed the crime, then the fact that you found a person whose DNA matches the weapon means nothing, because there are people in the population for whom it will match. On the other hand, if the person is seen running from the crime and then you take their DNA and it matches, then the chances are 1 in a million that the chances of the person seen running from the crime would happen to match the DNA found on the weapon, etc. So I want to point to an analogous problem.
Did you hear this? Did you hear this? This is this case in a nutshell, 1,000%. Having a couple of skin cells at a crime, whether it's on a weapon, a sheath, on a wall, on the floor, whatever it's on, the couch, who cares? Having a tiny bit of trace DNA in a house where a crime took place and you match it to somebody means absolutely nothing. It's gonna match to somebody. You're gonna, work that DNA until it matches somebody. You're gonna match somebody. But if you took that to court alone, you have no case. You have nothing. We don't know when the DNA got there. We don't know how. We know nothing other than you made it match this person. That is why they had to put Bryan Kohberger behind the wheel of their undercover cop car. Yes, they call it his car. I call it the undercover cop car. Suspect vehicle 1. Because without Bryan Kohberger leaving that scene, they have no case. You cannot just use, you can, but you're not going to go anywhere with it. You cannot just use a couple of skin cells at a crime scene. But you surely can use a couple of skin cells at a crime scene and the person leaving the scene. Let me play this again.
I think it's the prosecutor's fallacy. And basically it looks like this. A person, their DNA matches the DNA on a weapon that has been used in a murder. And the prosecutor says the chances of this DNA matching are 1,000,000 to 1. And the person is convicted. The problem is, if there's no other evidence that the person committed the crime, then the fact that you found a person whose DNA matches the weapon means nothing, because there are people in the population for whom it will match. On the other hand, if the person is seen running from the crime and then you take their DNA and it matches, then the chances are 1 in a million that the chances of the person seen running from the crime would happen to match the DNA found on the weapon, etc. So I want to...
That is the reason why they had to put Bryan Kohberger leaving the scene. Because without Bryan Kohberger leaving the scene, they have no case. None. And here's the thing. They don't even have Bryan Kohberger behind the wheel of that car. There is no evidence. Let's say that was his car. They still have zero evidence that he was the one behind the wheel. So truly, they have no case. But they definitely needed Bryan Kohberger to be behind the wheel of that vehicle, or else the DNA on the sheath meant nothing for them. Nothing. And isn't it crazy that those are the only 2 pieces of evidence that they have? The only 2. That is wild. They made this case. They invented these things. They purposely had to say Bryan Kohberger was behind the wheel of that vehicle simply for the DNA to work. Or else they had no case at all. Now, could you imagine if Pedro says the problem is that none of the evidence was ever adjudicated because there was no trial. We do not even know which evidence was found admissible, if it was even going to be admissible by the time of the plea. Absolutely. We don't know. And, I think we've said this a million times. Other people have said this. In the Army or the military or anything like that, they don't use touch DNA or trace DNA. So this case, if Bryan Kohberger was in the military, this case would have never been brought against him, because most countries, a lot of states, and definitely the military, they don't even recognize trace DNA as anything that they can charge against somebody. You can't bring a case against somebody using touch DNA. It's completely non-admissible in court. So, yep. This case is so disturbing. They have done a horrible thing here. Yep, absolutely. Oh, give me 1 second. It's going too fast. 1 second. I'm going to add there we go. Okay. That works. Okay, perfect. Actually, give me 1 more second. I still have a couple of other things to show you before we get into the interview. And I caught a couple of things in that interview. Now, I haven't listened to anybody else go over this new interview that Accomplished Day put out, but I caught a couple things, and I find them very interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, I got the wrong one. Darn it. There it is. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. Oh my God. Okay, there we go. That is good. Okay, I got it. Sorry, I had to do something behind the scenes. So yeah, without the vehicle and Bryan Kohberger behind the wheel, apparently, they would have had nothing. No case at all. Oh, I want to share with you something I noticed. I was looking through pictures as well, and I noticed a couple things in a couple different pictures. Yes, we're still finding things in the pictures. So this is a picture, as you can see where it's at. It's in Xana's room, and it's on the wall that is behind the bed. Not behind, but on the side of the bed, where Ethan's head was hanging over. So this on the very right of this picture is the arterial spray from Ethan's, more than likely his neck. But I find this other spatter incredibly interesting. I'm going to zoom in on it. That is out. We need in. Okay. Look at this spatter. Anybody who knows anything about spatter, you're going to look at this and say, wait a second, something here isn't right. First of all, there's like a little hair. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there are like 3 lines pretty much right in the middle of this picture. There's 1, 2, 3, and they look like they're going like down and to the right. There is a hair over to the right and down a little bit. Let me move chat. It's right behind where chat was. And it looks like it is maybe like an eyebrow hair or an eyelash or something like that. It's a tiny hair, but it almost looks like it could have a root on it. Something really, really small. Could be, short guy's hair too. Who knows? But that's not even what I wanted to show this picture for. I'm showing this picture because the spatter is very strange. Look at all of the different directions this spatter is going. We've got spatter going up. We've got spatter going to the right. We've got spatter going down and to the right. We've got spatter going completely down. We've got spatter going down and to the left. And then we've got spatter going completely to the left. It's like in a perfect circle. Well, then we've got a void in the middle. So what does that tell us? That tells us whatever was hit right here, whether it was by a knife, blunt force, whatever it was, whatever was hit was directly inside this spatter. Well, they want us to believe that all of this blood on this wall is Ethan's. If that is true, that means Ethan was not just laying there. That means Ethan actually got up. Because this part of the wall is like halfway down the bed. So if this was Ethan's face, his face would have had to have been in a sitting up position. So they want us to believe, yeah, head slammed into the wall, something created blood spatter when he was hit in this moment. But that would mean that Ethan was not sleeping and Ethan was not laying down. Ethan was, at the very least, sitting up when this spatter happened, or it would not be going in a perfect circle. So something hit where blood was already at, and that blood dispersed like that in every direction. So Ethan was awake. Ethan was sitting up. Ethan was not asleep, which now gives me so many more questions. So many more questions. I also, here it is, so you can see it from further away. Yeah, the small hair could be beard hair as well. Yep. Holly Berry says, I think so, half sitting up on his elbow. Yep. Could be. Absolutely. Kind of looks spiral, like he was bleeding and rolled over. Isn't that what they were saying was the bushy eyelash above that? Oh, I don't know. I don't see an eyelash anywhere. Or eyelash, like fake eyelashes. I don't see that anywhere. This mark right here, the one to the left of the arterial spray, like the main one in the middle, is way too big to be something from an eyelash. That's actually a fairly large area of blood. Not large. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, maybe this long, probably. So it wouldn't be like an eyelash or anything. I mean, you can even see the different direction that it's going when you compare it to the arterial spray next to it that went up and fell down. And here, right here, actually, is the stains that are all diluted. Halfway up the wall above Ethan. You know, I always thought Well, if all of the diluted blood is condensed in one area and just in the living room, whether it's to the left of the pong table or the right of the pong table, that shows that something different happened in that area. So to make all of that blood diluted, were there cups being thrown with liquid in it that made all that diluted in that area? And that kind of made sense to me until I found out that there was diluted blood above Ethan's head, which told me, no, that's not what happened. There's a completely different reason all this blood is diluted, because you can't have some in the living room and also in Xana's room that looks the exact same. There's something else at play here, like somebody was trying to remove the blood or something different. So there's that. And also I wanted to show you this just in case you haven't heard it or seen it. I just want to make it very clear that when we look at Xana's room and all of her red fluid that is on the wall, none of it goes up to her full height. All of it is about mid-wall or below. And that tells us that for the most part, Xana fought while on the floor. She wasn't standing up in a lot of these. More than likely, she was fighting back while on the floor, whether it was sitting, crawling, whatever it was. But none of this is high up on the wall like she was standing up. It's all mid-wall and below, which tells us she was down on the floor for almost all of this. The only one that I could say that she was standing up is on the light switch right when she opened the door and was hit. That's further up on the wall, and that tells us she was standing. Everything else is mid-wall and below. So more than likely not standing. So to think that absolutely kicking and grabbing the weapon, possibly trying to, get low and put your feet in front of you so you can kick and protect your body. I don't know. As a female, I can, or I guess just as a human being, I can see that. I would probably try and get low, and you try and make yourself smaller, right? So there's less areas that they can stab you at. If you're in a fetal position on the floor, there's less areas that they can get to. You're kind of covered by yourself in a sense. So yeah, to know that she put up this big of a fight and she was not even standing is, man, good for her. She fought her ass off for real. That's crazy. All right, guys, let's get into, that's another thing I was going to show you. Okay. We're going to get into this interview now. All right. And if you don't hear any, or if you can't hear what she's saying, I have headphones in, so now I can hear everything. I really struggled hearing it yesterday, so I kind of gave up and figured I'd just give a raw reaction for most things. I did hear 2 things in here in the beginning, though, or I think I made it halfway through. And I find them very interesting, and I will tell you why. Yeah, I'll just say it when we get there anyway. Okay, here we go. Here we go now. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
It is November 18th at 12:16 p.m. This is Idaho State Police Detective Matt Wernstein and Homeland Security Task Force officers. we are interviewing, if you could spell your first and last name.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make any sense.
So what's your date of birth? So, as you already know, this interview is in regards to the event that happened in Moscow on Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll just have you kind of walk through your evening and any interactions that you had with the victims that night. So start where.
That makes a lot of sense, Hemisphere. I think Xana heard the commotion going on in the living room. She opened the door and was rushed by 2 perps. The only thing I can make sense is Ethan. How can he be in Xana's room when his blood was found on the knee wall or the half wall? Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think she went up the stairs to the 3rd floor. There's none of her blood or anything anywhere. Nothing. So other than in her room. And the first wound we see where blood is spattered onto the light switch in her room tells us that she opened the door, or somebody kicked in the door, and she was standing right there, and that's where she was first hit. So yeah, that makes sense that she was in the living room, or opened the door to see what was going on in the living room, and that's how they got to her. Yep. Somebody else said she is so pretty. I absolutely agree. I was going to say that too. Like, my goodness.
Wherever you want to, wherever you feel is pertinent or anything like that. And then, like I say, we can get into more directed questions in a bit.
I was at, I call him Jim. Everyone does, but now.
You can call them whatever you want.
And we were upstairs, and all the boys were watching football games, sports. WWE, I think that was it. No, not that. Whatever. Sports. I didn't really want to watch sports, so I called Kaylee around 10. He's a neighbor of ours, and I walked over there and called her again. When I got there and asked her for the door code. I don't remember what the door code was. I was drinking most of the day. And then I walked in the front door. And
so she's saying she was over at a different house with friends, with some boys that were watching like sports stuff, WWE. She didn't want to be there. She's not into sports stuff. So she called Kaylee. I don't know if she talked to Kaylee or Kaylee maybe didn't answer, but she started walking over to Kaylee's anyway. Called Kaylee when she got to the front door. She forgot what the code was. Kaylee let her know what the code was, and she walked in the front door.
Up the stairs, and I said hi to her, asked how she was, and then
she walked up the front stairs. She saw Dylan, I'm assuming in the living room. She just said, when I walked up the stairs, I saw Dylan. I said hi to her.
I heard Kaylee coming in through the back door with her puppy Murph. And then the 2 of us walked upstairs, and she started getting ready. And then Maddie called, and she was on her way home from Significant. And then that was probably 5 minutes after I got there, maybe 10. And then Maddie came home, and she gave me a shirt to borrow.
1 second. I have something very important to say. There we go. Okay. Did you guys catch this? This is huge, actually. See, she said when she walked up the stairs, she saw Dylan. She said hi to her. And as she walked further into the house, Kaylee was coming in through the back slider with Murphy because she had just let him out. She said her and Kaylee went up to the 3rd floor to Kaylee's room. As Kaylee started getting ready, Maddie called. Maddie called Kaylee. I believe, or her, whoever, doesn't matter, and said, I'm walking home. I'm coming, back from Sigma Chi. And Riley says, 5 minutes after she got there, Maddie came there. Why is this so big? If you go back to my Dylan series and you get the some of the information that may make it seem like Dylan maybe had a thing for Kaylee and was jealous. We know that when Maddie was walking home from Sigma Chi, Dylan had left the house. And as Dylan was walking out of the house, she ran into Maddie by the dumpster. So what does that mean? As soon as freaking Riley came there to be with Kaylee and hang out with Kaylee, Dylan effing left immediately. Dylan left immediately when Riley got there. And that pretty much tells us that pissed off Dylan. Dylan was pissed about that. She didn't even finish her homework. As soon as Riley gets there, Riley said it was 5 minutes and Maddie got there. Well, Dylan met Maddie out by the dumpster when she left. So as soon as Riley got there, that pissed off Dylan and Dylan booked it. Dylan left. Dylan was pissed that she had Kaylee come all the way there to go to this formal. And now Kaylee calls a friend over when Dylan and Kaylee were the only ones home at that time. And I think Dylan thought that she was going to get to hang out with Kaylee. So when she sees Riley come in and Riley and Kaylee go upstairs, now Dylan's pissed because she sees she's not going to get to hang out alone with Kaylee. So she left.
And then Kaylee said that was the Uber driver was going to pick us up. And I think she texted him because she didn't take a phone call or anything when I was with her. And then we went downstairs to the living room and the three of us sat on the couch and had a white claw. And then we got a text that arrived. Kaylee got in the front seat, I got in the back left, and then Maddie back right. And
nope. Oh, this is before. Way before, like 10:30, 10:30, something like that. I do too, Chelsea. I do too. Kaylee's face says, female jealousy.
that point, Kaylee kind of just took over the conversation, and then me and Maddie were just giggling, being kind of drunk in the back. Then dropped us off at the corner club and said that he would be driving until around 3 o'clock. And then me, Maddie, and Kaylee walked into the corner club, and our friends were there. They all were there. We got drinks and we're talking, whatnot. Everything was normal. And his friend was texting me saying that he was going to come with all of his buddies. I don't necessarily remember which of his buddies came. But
About what time did you get to the corner club?
I would say 11, around 11. But during the night, there was this guy. I had a class with, and he was talking to us, and then he started like just creeping out, staring at her, saying comments to her.
Now, this is important too, and I'm going to show you why. She's talking about Cole Berenberg at the Corner Club. And she's saying how, he's staring. He won't leave us alone. He just is staring at us. He is making weird comments. I'll let her finish, and then I'll tell you why this is odd.
She backed away, but he still kept sticking around. And then he came up to me and he said to me something like, I need to get her goddamn phone number right now. He was kind of aggressive in a way.
I know it might be hard to hear for some of you, so I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, just the really important parts. So she just said that Cole Berenberg said about Kaylee, I'm assuming, said, I need to get her effing number right now. And Riley said that Cole sounded very aggressive.
And I looked at him and I said, I'm not giving it to you. She's talking to someone, even though I don't believe that she actually is. I just wanted to say that so he would back off. He didn't. He was.
Yeah, she's like whispering and it's really hard to hear. So I guess Cole said, I need to get her effing number right now. And Riley said that he was really aggressive about it. So Riley looked at him and was like, she's talking to somebody. Riley said, I don't know if she was actually talking to somebody. I just said that hoping that it would make him leave her alone and go away. Yeah, the fire detector is so annoying.
He was around us for a while at the club. And then we just kept minding our own business, and we went to the bathroom a couple times. And, they apparently left and went to John's.
When you say they, who are you talking about?
Maddie and Kaylee, and I heard that she was working with them as well. Which is unusual in my opinion, if it's true. I did personally see it. They apparently were asking to come with them, but then all of the friends convinced him to stay.
Oh, wow. She said they were asking Jack to go with them, and he decided to stay. I'm assuming Jack Decor. And she said, which might have saved his life. What's interesting about the Cole Berenberg stuff that she was just talking about, how he was really aggressive, wouldn't leave them alone. And I guess this went on for a lot of the night, at least an hour or two it went on. Now, why is that so interesting? I believe that is so interesting because, hold on. I'm going to show you why this is interesting to me. Look at, this is Connor's page and all of the footage that was given to him, or that they have from the Corner Club. But look at the time. They have Corner Club camera footage from 9:57 to 10:47. And then it skips. And then they have Corner Club camera footage from 1:15 to 2 in the morning. So the time that Cole was being aggressive, following them around, staring at them, doing all this stuff in the Corner Club, those are the times that are missing. That's the time that they didn't give to Connor to show what was going on. Why? That is the only times that are missing, is the time that Cole was being harassing to them. Why? It's strange. It's like they don't want us to see specific stuff. Why? Was it bad enough to where we would be like, oh, he did it? Like, it could have been bad enough. Yeah. Or is he some sort of informant so they couldn't put him on the screen in video? Yep, they don't want us to know who the alternate suspects were. Have you noticed none of the people interviewed have ever shown any emotion? Excuse me, if my friends were murdered, I'd be emotional for sure. Oh, absolutely. And even when they came into the police station 2 hours after it happened, nobody's upset. They speak just fine. Nobody has to catch their breath. Nobody has to, wipe their tears. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Yep. So to not give the defense any alt-perp evidence, they just say, oh, they don't have it. How is it that conveniently camera footage is missing when there's stuff to be seen, right? They delete the audio from the 1112 camera at 2 a.m. 2 o'clock is a dark hour, and we can't hear anything, right? And then at 4 something, the other camera resets itself. So we don't have anything from that time either. How convenient. And now the corner club is missing footage when Cole was being aggressive to them. It's just a little strange. Oh yeah, I've seen that. It looks like Maddie and Kaylee are having maybe an argument with Jack D in the corner club. I think he called it like not a fake fight, or somebody called it a fake fight, or like they were just joking. It looked like they were fighting, but it was just a joke. They were just playing around, apparently, is what was said. Do we have a picture of Cole Berenberg? I think somewhere. Yeah, I mean, he's in some photos. I'd have to dig for him, though, which I am not going to do right now. Sorry. So, yeah, I just think it is very interesting that anytime there is, because I was like, I want to go to the corner club and see this happening on the footage. So I went to go dig it up, and I'm like, oh, how convenient. It's not there. Not there at all. Unbelievable. All right.
Other than that, it was kind of a blurry night.
When did you end up leaving the corner club?
The video there, I thought we left a lot earlier, but the video timestamp
Let me find it.
1:11, so I'm guessing 1:30, maybe 1, very quickly after that. I think I made him chug his
No
beer
kidding.
to leave.
And where did you guys go from the corner club?
We went to Garcha.
Okay. You went directly to the grub truck?
Yeah.
Sorry, is it the one where she's on the ground and you can see like part of her face sticking up? It would be picture 953. Or can you actually see the whole thing? That would be so, oh my God, could you imagine? That would be so much fun. Becca, do you know if it's picture 953 where she's laying down and you can just partially see a little bit of her face? Or if it's a different picture? Oh, the whole thing. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. You don't know the channel name? Do you know the channel name?
We got 4 tacos and a mac and cheese.
And then from the grub truck.
To my house.
Okay.
It's not far.
Hey, Accomplished. Good to see you, my love. How are you? Natasha something? Okay, I'll have to check it out.
And then once you got home, what happened?
You guys, if you're not following Accomplished Day, please check out her channel. This is her channel link right here. Check it out. She has a lot of FOIAs and she has a lot of FOIAs coming. So you don't want to miss them. Definitely go over there and subscribe, turn on the bell so you get all of her notifications. Good stuff is coming for sure.
We set the food down and my was in the night prior and I walked into her room, turned the light on. So there was 2 people in bed. The other one was just her.
So
And I said there was like 2 people because she just got a boyfriend. So I was like,
y'all, after this live, we won't be on till that time. So in an hour and a half, Accomplished Day is going to give us Cole Barenberg's interview. So definitely subscribe to her channel so you get the notification. Make sure and turn the bell on. I'm so excited.
and then they yelled at me to get out and turn the light off. And then me and she ate our tacos and mac and cheese. And then pretty sure we just went to bed.
Did you get up in the night for anything?
The
Get more
next
food,
time,
go to the bathroom, or anything like that?
I think the next time I woke up was like 8 o'clock. And then I fell back asleep.
Is there anything else?
The night's just kind of blurry. I wish it wasn't, but
You said that it was a little odd that the girls were hanging out with and or leaving with a.
yeah.
Why was that odd?
He
call.
isn't. I was.
That's a really good call, Huda. Good eye, good memory. There were tacos everywhere in Xana's room.
Say he isn't the typical guy that they would hang around or we would hang around, just because he's kind of weird. Just an odd guy in general. He smokes a lot of pot. He has a temper. He fights a lot. Our scene of choice, I guess.
She's talking about Showalter, saying that he smokes a lot of pot, he's aggressive, he's just not our cup of tea. So she wasn't sure why Kaylee and Maddie were maybe with him.
I mean, he's always been around, but if they left for John's alley with him, I would be surprised and confused, I guess, because I feel like that's not the typical guy they would have chosen to hang out with them or invited to hang out with them.
Aw, boo.
How do you, do they know?
Yeah, he says, and we've all hung around the quite a bit. Maddie's boyfriend is her best friend. We've all of our 4 years have hung around the decks, and he's always just been around.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They didn't redact it when she said it the first time.
And you said Maddie's boyfriend was.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, it's normal speed. Here, I'll show you.
And what's his name?
Playback speed, normal.
Do you know how to spell his last name? And you said that with Jay,
Yes.
and Jay is currently Maddie's boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Smiling Sleuth. I appreciate you.
So other than not necessarily being their typical like go-to choice for friends, was there anything else odd or concerning about them leaving with him?
I personally didn't see it.
Okay.
I just heard about it. So I didn't see the interaction or anything.
When did you hear that they left with?
The next day.
Okay. While you were at the corner club, did you notice anything around the girls? Anybody paying odd attention to them or anything else that stuck out to you?
I would say just.
And he was asking for, you said,
Number, but he was then just hanging around us, staring at us.
and how do you know?
It's funny, it says the name on the transcript thingy, on the closed caption. but it's redacted. It's so stupid. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I don't know how. Who knows? That's what I think too.
Do you know any of the victims?
None of the victims. I'm not sure. But I don't believe that I'm sure if he knew them or not.
And where does he live?
She lives on King Street as well.
Now, I'm not exactly sure if they're talking about Cole knowing the victims or Showalter knowing the victims, but both of them knew at least one of the victims. Cole knew Maddie because he had class with her, and Showalter knew Kaylee, right? Showalter knew one of them from class or something. No, Showalter knew Maddie. Maddie, not Kaylee. But in his interview, he said he knew Maddie.
You listed off a group of friends that were already at the corner club when you got there. I didn't jot down any of their names. Are they all sorority sisters with you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Did any of them know or?
Yes. I would say they all know. And then again, and stayed the night that Friday night.
Oh, got it. That's right. Okay.
No, are you in a sorority?
Yes.
Right. Yep. Hi, Lenny. Good to see you. Yep. Yeah.
Kaylee and Maddie, I mentioned this to the
He
police
did.
officer who talked to you yesterday. They sent videos and stuff. I can't precisely remember, but we have a group chat, and they sent videos of them at Grub Truck and whatnot that maybe you guys could get access to.
They, do you know what platform they were sending videos with?
Snapchat.
Okay.
They're disappeared, like they're the timed ones, but
That's
It
true.
was like on their story or something? Or just to individuals or the group?
the group chat that we have.
Have you heard, I've
Thank
heard,
you, Sally.
I guess we'll call it rumor at this point, that Kaylee had a stalker. Have you heard anything about that? Kaylee didn't talk to you about a stalker at all? Okay. Have there been any issues with stalkers with any of your,
Thank you.
or any of the, I guess, other sororities as well?
Yes. I heard had one. She was a.
Oh,
but
for
I was
sure.
not close with her, so I didn't hear anything about that.
Right.
But I didn't talk to her about it personally.
Do you know if any of the, do you know Xana's boyfriend? I forget his name.
Ethan,
Ethan?
I never talked to him.
Okay.
I don't believe.
Do you know if any of the 4 victims had any issues with anybody?
I've been trying to think about if they did, and I never. I feel like they were so well liked that I never saw any tension or anything. I mean, I haven't hung out with them a ton this semester. It's been mainly like if I do, it would be Kaylee. But I never saw any. I never saw anything like that.
No, like drawn out arguments or even Kaylee venting to you about being pissed off at somebody or Maddie venting to you or anybody?
Kidding.
They weren't beefing with anybody
They
or?
would say people are annoying, and I can't say.
But nothing like a full-fledged argument with somebody that was ongoing or anything like that?
No.
What time do you, and I know you kind of gave an approximation of it, What time did you say they were sending out videos to the group at the grub truck?
Around 2? Around there?
Around 2.
I bet I could look at the actual time on my phone.
If you want to, you can.
Just see.
What does he mean? If you want to, you can. Don't you think timestamps would be a great thing to have? Actual minutes of when messages were sent? That would be a nice thing to have. Jesus. If you want to, you can. I mean, we're going to pin it on somebody else anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to have no evidence on them. So if you want to, you can. My goodness.
While you're looking that up, did you have any
Doesn't say anymore.
like odd or alarming communication, either text, snap, or whatever, from any of the victims?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Thank you, Huda. That's so sweet.
Was there anything else? I feel like there was something else.
Hey. Member for 1 month and many more.
We asked about the soccer thing. I guess you kind of mentioned that some of your recollections were a little bit fuzzy. Do you know about when did you reach a point where your memories, was it like you remember pretty much everything up to the corner club, and then after that it's kind of like not sure? Or
Yeah, I would say after my second drink at the corner club.
Leading much? My goodness. So when did you kind of start having a bad memory? Was it 2 drinks after you got to the corner club and it was about 10:47 p.m., right? Yep. Yeah, that's exactly when it happened, sir. Jesus.
I remember like probably the first hour, and then it gets bits and pieces fuzzy after that.
Thank you.
I know I already asked that, but that kind of first hour that you were there, do you recall anything that stood out to you as odd, or, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be surrounding the victims, but just anything at the corner club that seemed off from what your normal experience there is? Other than being aggressive, was there anybody else that kind of gave you the heebie-jeebies?
I wish there was, but
No,
it
you're
wasn't normal. It was jam-packed. Lots of people there, and it's a fun night at the club.
She said she did.
Did anything happen just prior to the girls leaving that maybe stood out? Them upsetting anybody or anybody upsetting them? Sorry?
Just before they left.
Before they left the corner club?
I didn't say goodbye.
Okay. What have you heard people say about this?
There's so much, and it's so upsetting.
Welcome.
I've heard that did it. Kaylee's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, they're
She's heard that Jack DeCour did it.
confusing. I've heard that and did it, which knowing them wouldn't make zero sense. They all were best friends. I've heard that
Jack Showalter and somebody else. She said they're all best friends, so it would make sense. That's kind of interesting because it sounds like she's talking about 3 people, and it looks like we have anywhere between 2 and 4. I like to think 3 to 4 perpetrators. Interesting.
did it. I've heard that just a random creep from the streets followed them home and did it. Just about every story out there.
Do you know pretty well? So, one of his is, and he works at Corner Club. Was he working that night?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he would presumably be somebody that wasn't drinking that night? Do you know if they allow him to drink while they work there?
No.
They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to. If I'm pretty sure that he was working, but also works there. He would be a good person to talk to, and
Sure, one of these people are Adam, right?
I'm not sure if she was working, but
Can you tell me those names again?
you know,
Nope.
and then
A video of what?
If you had to just kind of shooting from the hip, had to come up with a reason why someone would have done this, what would you say?
jealousy.
What do you mean by that?
I think she's spot on though. What's the reason that somebody would do this? Jealousy. Psh. Looks like it, right? Especially from the wounds.
I mean,
He says, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do I mean? Jealousy. Jesus.
I just feel like
Yep.
they were so well liked, very pretty. Either jealousy of a boy, maybe they rejected someone, or someone just got angry that they didn't fit in as well, maybe. I feel like
Maybe.
since there's no like force of entry, maybe they would have known the door code, so it probably was someone they knew.
Good point. Who would be? Who would be? Yowzas.
Kind of go along that thread. Is there anything that you can think of that would maybe be a reason why somebody would want to kill Maddie?
Her in particular, Maybe her ex-boyfriend. But that was a very long time ago.
How long ago?
Hi. I'm going to let this play, but Bronx wants the door open. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Is this annoying? Me whispering.
Could you think of a reason somebody would want to kill Kaylee?
I honestly, I can't even believe that someone would even do that to her to begin with. Because she was literally the kindest person ever.
Here's the thing. They say she's the kindest person ever. And I've said this before. Yeah, if you are in her friend group, right? If you're somebody that she likes, I don't think they really know how she treats people that she doesn't know or doesn't like or isn't gorgeous and in her clique and things like that. So yeah, you could say people are kind when they're one of your good friends, but I don't think they really know how they treat people outside of their friend group. Because when they go into the bar, nobody gets excited to go say hello. Nobody talked to them really, other than the people they already knew. They walk up to the grub truck, not one person says hi. I mean, how great and popular and nice were they if you go into a place and nobody says hi to you? You go to another place and nobody says hi to you. And I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying what I see on video doesn't tell me that they're so nice and so popular. I don't see that either.
I guess jealousy.
What about Xana?
Jealousy, I guess too. She was so popular and so fun, well loved.
Do you know, because you said you didn't know Xana as well, or you didn't?
I've hung out with her quite a bit, but it was always through social gatherings or one-on-one.
Do you know much about her ex-boyfriends or anything like that? Okay. Do you know, and it sounds like you don't really know Ethan from it, but do you know any reason why anybody would want to kill Ethan?
I didn't even.
Of all of the things that you've heard other people say, kind of give me a little bit of wisdom. Are there any of them that you feel would be a little bit more likely or more accurate than others?
I mean, I don't really know how they were found. I know that they were stabbed. Which I feel like would be difficult to do if they all were in the same one.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know if maybe a guy went in there to rape one of them and then I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really
You don't have to press it too hard.
I feel like it's someone we know, someone that just was getting so angry and wanted to see them gone, or maybe again the jealousy thing. I feel like that happened.
Someone we know. Who did this? She said, I feel like it's someone we know. Someone who was jealous. Somebody who was just getting more and more angry as time went on and wanted them gone.
Others.
Can you think of anybody that fits into that mold?
Um,
Anybody that's, I think you had mentioned kind of like obviously as a theory, you had mentioned maybe somebody growing more and more jealous about not fitting in. Is there anybody that you know of that's been constantly rejected or trying to fit in and doesn't or anything like that? Is there anybody that, and I know it's a little difficult because it seems like everybody tried to gain as much distance as possible, as quickly as possible. Is there anybody that you heard of that beat feet a little faster than everyone else to get out of town?
I feel like me and were like the first ones to bring up the idea of leaving because I was like shaking, and he asked if I wanted to go home, and I said yeah, but
She says Jack, but I don't know which one she's talking about. So, one of the Jacks.
all of his were backing up too by the time he got home. So
Is there anybody that kind of showed an odd interest in the girls after the fact? Or an odd interest in the house, or being more nosy than you would kind of anticipate?
all my family members. No, not to my knowledge, but her Instagram comments are disgusting.
What do you?
Yeah, Kaylee was. It's just strange how the whole stalking story, the Winco stalking story, and the Kaylee thought she saw somebody in the backyard looking at her stalking story. It's crazy how that story, everybody knows that story. Everybody said that story. And it makes me wonder sometimes, was it actually true? Or was that the narrative that they were told to say? You know?
You'd said their Instagram comments are horrible. What does that mean?
There's just a bunch of these random accounts who have little to no followers, but following all of us, commenting, "You're next. Thank God they're gone. I'm gonna do it again." Stuff like that under her most recent post.
That's probably just dumb people that think they're being funny, or, you know, some people troll and do that kind of stuff, which is so strange to me. I don't know why. But it also makes you wonder, is one of those trolls an actual person that could do something like this or did do something like this? I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I feel like it was a little odd just based on, I said this in my, but, just based on the fact how he would always drop his other rides for us, and he gave us his personal cell phone number, and he would keep airplane shooters in his car for us. I mean, it could just be him being nice, but he would sometimes not.
That's where this came from. So she's talking about Eric Gower now, and she's talking about how creepy and weird he was, and how everybody, or they had his personal number, and he would text them, and he'd keep airplane shooters in the car for them, and would give them free rides, and all the stuff we know about Eric Gower. That's what who she's talking about.
Charge us, which if you're picking people up at 12 o'clock, you don't necessarily want to be doing that for free. I said that to other police officers.
So there's another interview with her as well.
That's a little out of the ordinary. I didn't think anything of it before until recently, and my boyfriend, he was telling me, he's like, "Don't you think that's like a little weird how you use the word obsessed?" I don't know if it's an obsession, but how obsessed, how he picks you guys up immediately, texts you guys. Well, he didn't text me, but
Do you know his last name by any chance?
I don't know his last name, but I have his phone number. And I'm assuming he's the one who gave them a ride home that night.
Yep. At 2:10.
You said he paid particular attention to the A fees. Were there any other sororities that he would give free rides to, or was it specifically that one?
Oh, I feel like it was just us. It was my group of friends.
Did you have any kind of a personal relationship with anybody, or was it just strictly
Rides.
rides?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't dating anybody, or, and then you said he was married and stuff.
It started with my two friends that graduated. They originally met through Uber when U of I started giving out free rides, and then I got his phone number, and then from then on, he would always pick them up and drop them off. Cancel rides. He drove to Lewiston one time for them, and they weren't even there. And
I think
they
so.
passed his phone number down to all of us, and he did the same for us.
What was the other friend's name?
Oh, thank you, Bianca. We appreciate you so much. We love you. Thank you.
Prior to that night, well, you said you hadn't seen him in a while. When was the last time you had seen him?
They did grab the Wi-Fi and the router, and they did a warrant on it to see who was connected and things like that. They did. I FOIA'd it, but I was denied. That's an FBI thing. So, yeah. I mean, they did, but at this point, do we believe that they tell us the truth? I don't know. I mean, Brian Koberger's was never connected to it, like Steve G said. So at least it dispels that information.
He did officially drive for Uber, but when he would drive you guys, he wouldn't necessarily go through the Uber app. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was just talking about that to somebody. He's sitting back there and never calls her parents. They call him and he doesn't answer. How does that look? It does feel off. You're absolutely right. It does feel off. I'm not saying he went in there and did the deed, but it seems to me, allegedly, in my opinion, like he could know who did it or knew it was going to happen. Yeah, I heard that too. Not from any law enforcement or anything, but kind of just a rumor. And I don't know if it's true or not. If there was a stingray, we know there was in the Guthrie case, so it's not that far-fetched. And if anybody doesn't know, a stingray blocks any electronics from being able to connect, being able to work, anything like that. So
I have another question. It's slipping my mind. I apologize. Do you know anybody, either in your circle or in any of the victims' circles, that has any type of military connection, whether it's like ROTC at school or parents in the military or anything like that? Or anybody that does any type of combat athletics like airsoft or paintball or likes to do militaristic type stuff? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I just asked like 4 questions at once. Do you know anybody with a military connection, whether it's personally or through family?
There's a guy. He went to the military. He might, I don't know, he dropped out this last semester.
I understand why they're asking military, right? Because apparently the sheath, had the military logo, whatever. But after you found several animals, trigger warning, with bad things done to them and left on sororities' doorsteps with animal red fluid wiped across their window prior to the crime, and you are looking for this K-bar, allegedly, wouldn't you think more like hunting and less military? I get why they're asking. I mean, I'd ask military too, but I'd also think of hunting and things like that because of the recent animal stuff going on. And there was a lot of it. There's more than we know.
I think he was, but he was a military guy, and he lived in my apartment complex.
In the white.
Uh,
In the whites. Military guy in the whites.
And he dropped out, so he's no longer at the school. And you don't know his last name?
I wasn't super close with him at all.
And on the toilet, and on the light switch, and on the wall in the living room. It was all over his apartment. Yep.
That's the only one I can think of.
Do you know anybody else that does like paintball or airsoft or anything like that? Or is outdoor?
Paintball or airsoft? Let's think of that one. All right. Let's think of this. Let's think this out. What do you use for paintball or airsoft? Guns. Funny, they want us to believe that no guns were involved. But first he asked about military knives. Now he's asking about sports that you use guns for. Why would he be asking that? Because Kaylee was hit in the face with the butt of a gun. That was her blunt force trauma, and they know it. And that's exactly the same reason why on the warrant, and I know they put it in most warrants, but it was first in the warrant, guns and ammunition.
Outdoorsy. I know
Oh, there's
a
tons.
lot of people at UVI are outdoorsy, but
Say all of them go hunting, whatnot.
Yeah, they are, but he's still asking about what guns. First he was asking about knives. Now he's asking about guns. And I think he's asking that on purpose. And I'm not saying that a perpetrator had an airsoft or a BB gun. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's asking about guns specifically for a reason, because I believe he knows that the butt of a gun was used on Kaylee's face.
There's a lot of outdoorsy people.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that stands out to you over that weekend, either before or after the fact, that we haven't covered that you feel like investigators should know? Anything else that's just not sitting right with you, or a little detail you didn't include that you remembered or anything like that?
Maybe for a party that Friday. Yeah, formal that they went to. But other than that, I can't think of anything.
Sage, you got anything else?
Sure.
All right, with that, we'll conclude the interview at 1:03.
We've got a lot of interviews coming, y'all. We've got a lot of them. Speaking of, I'm going to check my FOIAs real quick just to... Oh, no, I'm not, because I exited out of it. Let's see. Nope, nothing new. Okay. Oh, it's right. Nope. Okie dokie. Good stuff. Yeah, so don't forget that Accomplished Day is putting out at 8:30. She has Cole Berenberg's interview. I hope there's no beeping, and I hope he speaks loud enough. They did get DNA from Cole, so of course they do an interview. We have a couple that are coming from people that they got DNA from as well. They should be coming any day. Other than that, I'm going to hop off so I can take Bronxy out before we watch Accomplished Day's interview. What did Maddie tell Adam? It's crazy to me that even after, let's say they didn't see that video right away, so they didn't know to ask Adam right away what Maddie told him. But you'd think after that video came out and they heard, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? I told him everything. That you would then immediately call Adam and say, what did Maddie tell you? Was it something worth, being unalived over? I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't ask. I think that's a little crazy. Crazy for feeling so lonely. All right, I'm going to show you, actually. I'm going to... oh, look, Bronxy's back there. I'm going to share with you. Hi, Bubba's. We're going to share Bronx's buddy of the day. This is a Great Dane named Tito. And this is Erica's baby. Look at those ears and those. I love dogs with droopy jowls. Oh my God. I just want to, so cute. And also, by the way, today is National Dog Day. So here we are. This is Tito on National Dog Day. Tito has the markings of a grown cow and looks like a grown cow. So stinking cute. I love Great Danes. I wish I could have one. They are just way too big for me. I love big dogs, though. I wish I could have a Great Dane. They're just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. So this is Erica's baby, Tito, and we thank Erica for sharing Tito with us today. Everybody, do something nice. Be kind. But more importantly, be kind to your animals. And tonight, I'm going to leave you with one of Bianca's songs that she made for our outro today. Bianca's very talented. If you go over to her channel, it's called Bianca Jane, as you can see her name in the chat. She has amazing songs over there that she makes about the Idaho 4. Go check them out in between now and when Accomplished puts out her video tonight. So you got some time, go check out Bianca. Give her a like and a follow. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with our Bianca's outro tonight. Have a wonderful evening, guys. I'm sure I will see you in the chat at Accomplished Day's channel here shortly. We'll see you on Friday. Unless we get a FOIA return, then I'll go live, but we'll see you Friday. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to mods and new mods. Welcome. And thank you for everybody who gifted and sent jewels tonight. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Shadows move through silent trees. Cold wind whispers with the breeze. King Road still calls their names. Nothing there will be the same. Pages turn, the questions stay. Truth won't simply fade away. Every voice still calls us near. No one disappears. Every secret leaves a scar. Every shadow shows who we are. The silence shakes, the curtain burns. The time is done. Hear our voices fill the night. Every cry calls for truth and light. Every question still lives on. Truth keeps marching, ever strong. No more hiding, no disguise. Truth is rising for our lives. Years roll by, still we stand, holding hope hand in hand. Every filing, every page adds another to the stage. Some see justice, some see doubt. Still the truth will all come out. Lights go dark, the circus ends. Masks come off, no pretend. Brian waits his day.